Yeah, yeah. Oh, there we go. We're live.
Hello from Cornwall. Well, we hope you can hear us. We've had a really stressful day trying to work out where we can get some signal to talk to you, but hopefully it's going to work. I'm Rona and this is Neville, my husband.
Hello.
And we farm the most southerly farm in mainland Britain, and we are right on the Lizard Point. We're a family farm, we've got 5 children, and you'll probably see them all. They're all spread around the farm, and Elsa is sat somewhere on her phone answering questions, so do please send questions in and she'll be answering questions. Oh look, there they are, they're coming in. Okay, so hello Marion. I went to school with Marion, you see. And Mick Morton.
Didn't go to school
Mick Morton.
with him.
I didn't go to school with Mick Morton.
And I'd just like to say, what is Richard Dark doing? He should be milking his cows at the moment.
Right, turn it around so we can look at the view, so we don't
Okay,
keep
look at the view.
Okay, so
Go.
here's some the cattle. These are young cattle that we're hopefully will be sold later in this summer. Unfortunately today we've just started feeding them silage because, like all the other farmers that have been on today, it's so dry we're starting to run out of grass, but there's hope on the horizon that it may rain later in the week. If Neville holds it up, you can see over behind there's the lighthouse, which is the Lizard Point lighthouse. This is as close as we can get to the point with our signals, so the sea is all behind us. We're sort of like a point that sticks out, and we're surrounded by sea on 3 sides. So what we're going to try and do is trying to give you a brief overview of what we're doing here today. So we're going to go across the road. Harold, one of my twins, is going to be the gate opener. There goes Harold. He's got his dog Tani, who's a Kelpie. It's meant to be a trained sheepdog. I'm not sure about how effective she is. Let's go. Oh no, we've now got a tourist arrived, so have lots of visitors to the Lizard. Not so many at the moment, but we obviously still got quite a few about. And we're going to go into this field of peas and barley. We're in quite an extensive stewardship schemes where we're encouraged to have a mosaic of fields of both arable and grass to give lots of opportunities for the wildlife. This is peas and barley. It's grown as an arable silage. So hopefully we can get somewhere where we can see that the rabbits haven't eaten it. So here is some of the peas that are flowering, and then the barley as well, and somewhere we should be able to find some vetch seeds. Where we can't see any vetch. Oh yeah, there's some vetch grown in here as well. So this is a mixture of peas, barley and vetch, which is the peas and vetch are grown for their protein content, and this will be cut later in August as an arable silage. And the vetch we grow because it has longer flowers, which is really good for the bees that have got long tongues. And we've got a number of common carder bees on the farm, which aren't that common, and they particularly like that. So we're trying to maximise the opportunities for the pollinators. We've been involved with some projects with Exeter University on pollinators. Whoops. As you can see, like all the other farmers have said, ours isn't very long. We grow all spring crops and it's been very dry for us this year. So now we're going to go into the next field. And first of all, we're going to look at some of our margins. Everyone's been showing off their margins today. We have amazing Cornish hedges here, but our hedges are slightly different because we don't actually have any trees. And when you look all around the Lizard, that's quite a feature of the Lizard. There is nothing that grows above about 5 foot because of the wind, and we are very exposed. And here's one of our margins. It's got lots of flowers and lots of different species, again for the pollinators. So let's keep moving. Thankfully we've only got 20 minutes.
Hopefully people won't feel too seasick with our movement around, but I might probably get attracted to you.
Should we go back out? This way. So this is a field that looks slightly greener than the others. This is a field that we've grown
plantain and
clover in. We did establish it 2 years ago, and we had a lot of problems establishing the planting. It is a good drought tolerant crop, and hopefully the planting's got deep roots and it keeps growing. Really good high protein again for the sheep. This is what these herbal lays. The herbal lays have in things like plantain because they're deep rooting crops and they keep growing when it's dry. And because we're such an exposed farm for the wind, we do dry out very quickly. But the sheep have eaten most of the plantain in this field, which is good news, because we found that the sheep finish very quickly on it, and it also makes them very tasty, because we obviously sell lamb for meat. So we're going to get in the tractor now, so you're not in the wind and it's not quite so noisy. Harold will have to run along the road with the dog. So as you can see, some of the views along here are an amazing place. We're very lucky to live in such a beautiful place. Harold's having a whispering with his dad about what we're going to do next. So it might be sheep out, cows out, something like that. So tell you a little bit more about the farm. Neville and I are what they call first generation farmers. That means we never grew up on a farm. We haven't had years of granddad's farm or great granddad's farm or anything like that. What we've done, we've had to do on our own. And we are what you call a farm business tenant, and so we've actually moved around quite a lot because we haven't got a home farm. We started off with working for other people. We met at agriculture college, worked for lots of other people, and got our first farm on the top of Exmoor. We moved on from there down to Devon, and now we've come to this farm here, which is a National Trust tenanted farm. As a tenant, you pay quite a hefty rent, and so we have to work really hard to be able to keep up with the rent. So now we're going to try and sit in the tractor on most of our open farm Sundays.
So is anybody else in the video with a tractor in it today?
I expect so.
Will the tractor drive?
I don't know, but this could go badly wrong. We only have one tractor. We have a very good neighbour that does quite a lot of our contracting for us, but we try to keep our costs to a minimum because most of our capital is invested in our livestock to earn money, and we try and keep our costs to a minimum. So, Neville, tractor.
Yeah.
Tell them about the tractor. Tractor facts, please.
Okay.
It's a red one for a start, and that's our favourite.
I can't hold the thing and drive. Right. So it's a 110 horsepower, very straightforward. We use a loader on it because a lot of what we do is lifting things up and down. What makes it special compared to tractors I've always used in the past is that the gears shifting system is pretty automatic. So you press a button, it changes gear. And we've just done it. You don't actually have to declutch and do that for all you dads out there that know these things. So it's almost like a semi-automatic or however you want to describe it, which is quite nice and lazy, really. It's not the most sophisticated of tractors, but it is good and reliable. So I think we're going to have a stop off in a moment to look at some barley, are we?
Yep, we're going to look at barley.
Okay, so we'll just pull over and we might just back up into this field momentarily. It's very wobbly tractor. I'm in a luxury seat. It's all air suspension and adjust to your weight. Rona's sat in the dicky seat, which is a little less comfortable, so you might find that the video is all joggly. And we're about to stop, and we have arrived.
Okay, so this is a barley field, and the barley is been undersown with grass. So grass is a really important part of a rotation, and we use the barley to establish the grass. So we've got two sorts of grass. We've got permanent grass, and that's the cliff land, the old fields that's been there many years, and it's always been in grass. Then we have the more productive new grass lays, and they're in for about 3 or 4 years. They have a lot of clover in it, and that's where we make our silage. And so that gives it good get going. So what we can see here under the barley, there's still plenty of weeds because it's quite a weedy farm. There's some clover growing. So the new grass under here is a white clover ley, so it's grass and white clover, but it's also got, and I can't see any now, chicory. We use a lot of chicory in the crops because, again, that's a little bit like the plantain. It's very deep rooting. You can see better where it's thinner. So this is some chicory here coming up. So they have leaves, they're high protein. The lambs and cattle really like those to eat, and it stays green when it's droughty. We have a lot of problems with salt wind in the winter, destroying some of the crops, and it tends to wipe out some of the clovers, but the chicory just goes a bit brown and keeps on growing, so we're quite successful with chicory. Okay, so the other thing we need to talk about is the sheep, which are on the other side of the road. We've got quite a lot of sheep. We lamb in April. We've got a crossbred flock of sheep. You can see them all across there. And then we've crossbred them so that it's something that grows outside, stays outside, has a minimum amount of concentrates, or just fed grass mostly, unless the weather's really rubbish before lambing. We lamb everything outside. We have about 160% lambing. We don't have lots of triplets, or we have a good number of twins, but we don't go for lots of lambs. It's meant to be easy, so we have, because we're quite lazy farmers really, we try and do everything as easy as possible. And then all our lambs we finish and sell them ourselves as fat lambs, so we sell half lamb boxes. We sell to a few local restaurants. We do a few farmers markets, and we do quite a lot from the door. So we have quite a lot of tourists that come on holiday and take a half a lamb back home with them, and we have a really good local trade for lamb. So shall we walk down the road to think, or we're going to go back in the tractor? I think we'll walk down the road, shall we? So that we'll walk up the road. Hopefully it's not too windy if I walk fast, you think? Yeah. So this is our favourite bit of the farm, because this is the lane that goes down to the beach, which is where the kids spend most of the time really. They have done in the last 10 weeks of lockdown. So we're going up the road.
So
and
one of the important aspects of the farm as well is that we talked about the agricultural side of it, but it's also very important in terms of the environmental work that we do. So all that cliff land is actually farmed land, but it is of special scientific interest, and it's we have rare birds that often land here coming in from the continent or further afield. But particularly we have very rare botanical species, and 5 of the country's rarest species are on the Lizard Point. So we have to manage that as well.
Percy just said, do you want to continue broadcasting? I don't know what that means.
We've gone offline for a second.
Oh gosh,
right.
This is so stressful. Hello Tristan. It's all gone crazy now. We might do something else. Come on. Continue. Right.
There we are. Technology's just glitching on us a moment there.
We can't
know what the neighbours are up to. So we're walking back towards the farmhouse, and
lovely farmhouse.
So effectively what we've done is we've taken about a half-mile trip from the most southerly point back towards the village, and the farm really is in front of the village in sort of a fan shape around the point. As Rona says, we're surrounded on 3 sides by sea, and that means that it gets very salty here, it gets very windy, and sometimes it gets very wet, but very wet or very, very dry. We're getting messages from anyway. I'm starting to get a bit breathless now. So we're going to go and slip into the cafe.
There's not been any cars around here for 12 weeks.
Yeah, that's it.
And now suddenly today is the day they're all driving round.
Not only does she close, but she locks us out.
She's locked us out.
How many children would like to...
Dora. Hello, Dora. And what have you got in your farm shop today?
We've got all sorts today. We've got some local veg and things like that, and we also do a lot of dry dry goods, so flour. We've been really busy with flour over lockdown. Oh, I've got a microphone to hold.
You can hold microphone.
And then we also do milk and ice cream, all sorts of things.
Okay, so what local things have you got special today?
Asparagus. This is just coming to the end, but that's at Splat and Ridden, and that's really nice and really interesting plant. Mum's favourite, isn't it? We've got Cornish Strawberries. They're quite cheap at the moment as well, because there's no big event, so they've got loads of spare strawberries, so we're getting a really good price. And then we've got all the dry goods, so all for your bacon and things like that.
And what have you been doing mostly in the lockdown is you've been bagging bags of flour.
Yeah.
So we have buy in the large bulk bags of British flour, and we've been bagging them mostly for the locals, which has been great fun because everybody comes and tells us what they've been cooking. So what else have we got? We've got some nice Miles's tea from Porlock, because that's where we used to farm nearby there. And we've got some really beautiful honey that's actually from a couple that have hives, and they sell their honey, and they have the hives on the farm. We have some local jams. We make scones and bread.
I've made up the cream tea for when we finished.
Dora likes cream tea. She's missing doing the tea shop. We grow vegetables on the farm, and we use have other people's local vegetables locally. We do things when we go to a local farmer's market, and we sell other people's produce, like penny's pies, wild pesto. We have some local milk in bottles, and we sell all our own lamb, and our lamb is pretty special, I have to say. It's quite exciting. So thank you very much, Dora, that's lovely. Can we go out of your shop, and we're going to go into the courtyard? Hopefully she's unlocked this door. Oh, and we've just seen Harold. So this is the old Victorian courtyard. This is where our normal open farm Sunday is full of people enjoying themselves. Last year we even had maypole dancing, which was quite random. Obviously the Victorian courtyard isn't much use for agriculture nowadays. We can't fit the tractors in, or it's a lot of handwork, and we're too lazy to do it. So we've sort of diversified into events, and we held some beautiful wedding last year. Obviously all our diversification on that sort of ideas have all stalled for the moment, but it will happen eventually. And here is our other dog, and she is a Huntaway. So this is Pie, who's a much better behaved dog than the Kelpie. No, I'm not going to do an Huntaway. So next job is we were going to go and see the pet lambs. However, the child that does the pet lambs may have disappeared chasing cows, so we may not actually. We'll be shearing the sheep this week, but we haven't quite got it together. And here's Percy's pet lambs. Now Percy, he's 15, he's twin to Harold. So you've seen Harold, so Percy looks quite like him. Here's Percy's pet lambs. The deal with Percy rearing the pet lambs is if he rears them, he can keep all the ewe lambs himself. So he's got a flock of about 10 sheep now. Some of them are a bit ragtag sheep because they're not always the best ones that end up as orphans. We don't get an awful lot of orphans. I think this year, out of these ones, they're mostly twins that have been rejected. As I say, as our easy care sheep, we don't have a lot of extras. Would somebody like to pick one up so we could see them? Neville doesn't like having much to do with the pet lambs. So Percy's reared them on milk for 10 to 12 weeks, and then he's just weaned them, and now he has them on pellets. As you see, he weighs them quite often as well. Apparently, what was they're 16 kilos or something like that. So what we normally tell the school children when they come is to look at the sheep, to feel their ears, see how their eyes are on the side of the head, and think about why their eyes are on the side of the head, and the children will tell us it's so they can see their predators. We look at their mouths. The sheep are quite interesting because they have only got teeth on the bottom. They've got a great palate on the top, which is hard and rigid, and so they can chew their grass. It's quite strong, this one.
One of them's chewing my welly at the moment.
The annoying thing about pet lambs is they don't really think they're sheep, and they spend the rest of their life following you around, expecting you to treat them as pets. But their school children, when they come, love the pet lambs because they're always so tame and lovely. So we normally keep some on a bottle until this time of year, so we can at least do it for Open Farm Sunday. So we normally do school visits.
Here he is, the pet lamb man.
Here's the pet lamb man. Things are going a bit astray. Here's Percy.
Hi.
And so how many sheep have you got now? We were just saying that it's now your flock.
10.
And you've got 2 purebred clens, which is the ram that we use on them, and the twins have reared a purebred ram, which your dad's had to buy off of you this year as well, isn't it? So they're starting to see
that money already, haven't you?
starting to see a little bit of a return on their investment and of time. Mostly it's time. Right, okay. We've done the pet lambs. You can put it down now, Dad.
It's eating me. What have you been feeding it, Percy?
Unfortunately, Neville normally does a shearing demonstration for Open Farm Sunday, so he's feeling quite relaxed today because we're not making him do that. It's just the technology stuff. I'm not sure where we are. And I think that we've got a few goats. We used to do lots of goats where we lived before. We've done every type of farming possible, apart from dairy farming. Well, we've worked on dairy farms, but we certainly aren't going to have a dairy herd because we're not too good in the mornings. So we've got a few goats left. Again, they're more pets. We have a lot of pets here. So let's go back to the yard. And I think we've shown you everything. Company and going kayaking all summer, but this year he's gone driving cauliflower rigs and he's hoping to go to Harper Adams in September to study agriculture. And this is Elsa, who's meant to be answering questions. I don't know whether she has. Oh, well done, Elsa. And she is at Harper Adams, except she's on a placement year at the moment and she's working on a large farm, again driving fancy tractors in Devon. Everybody goes off driving tractors except me and Neville. And she's here for the day to help us out with our technology. But she's meant to be going back to university in September to finish a year before she finishes a degree and then decides what she's going to do when she's a grown-up. So, thank you very much, everybody, for joining the Amiss family. Where are we all? Can you swing it around so we can see us all?
Okay, let me see.
So, I've lost Outdoorer again.
We've lost Dora.
Goodbye from the Amiss family, Tregulla's Farm, and do follow us on Facebook or Instagram, where we do have a social media presence, though it is quite random. And do come to visit us when you come down to Cornwall when the lockdown's finished, because it is the most beautiful farm, and we haven't done it justice really because we're not too good on this technology. But thank you for listening. Bye.
Give them away.